Hi, my name is Clair Partain. This flag that I'm holding is very special to me. It is the flag that I was given when my husband died, and I went to pick up his cremains from the funeral home. That was almost a year ago. He passed away on September 20th of 2019, 3 days before my 52nd birthday and 3 weeks before his 60th birthday. He had been ill for 4 years, almost. He had suffered from esophageal cancer that had spread to his lymph nodes, his liver, his pancreas, his bile duct. At the time of his death, I don't even know how much he weighed. He wasn't unable to eat. He was unable to communicate for the last 10 days of his life. He served proudly in the United States Air Force. Was commissioned in 1982, and after 14 years active duty became a Air Force reservist and was also a defense contractor. In 2001, when the world changed and the country was attacked, his unit was activated and he deployed to war. He served in many places during that time. Most of the time I did not know where he was, as he was a special operations navigator on C-130s. One of those deployments, we always knew it was going to be dangerous, but one of those deployments was to a former Soviet air base, now known as K2, Karshi-Kanabad in Uzbekistan. He spent February to June of 2002 there, living in very poor conditions, in tents, and didn't know where he was. We weren't able to communicate. When he came home, I do remember that he wasn't able to bring some of the things home with him because he had been told to leave things behind, that it wasn't safe to bring things home. Things were covered with dirt and dust, he said, that he could not bring home. But we didn't know then what we later found out, just how unsafe the facility was and just how likely that the conditions that he lived, breathed, ran, exercised, slept during those times, we didn't realize how it potentially caused his esophageal cancer. My husband didn't have any of the usual risk factors, except for the fact that he was a man. It's typically caused by heartburn, and he had no symptoms of that. My husband was in very good shape and a runner. Took good care of himself, wasn't overweight. Anyway, when his cancer was first diagnosed, he had been retired from the Air Force for 5 years. And when he applied for service connection for his disability, was told that because it occurred after his active duty, that it was not service connected. But we all know that's not how cancer works. It's a process, and something causes those things. He applied again for a disability for a service connection and was repeatedly told no. They didn't have any record of K2 having anything wrong with it. He was also stationed in other places that had burn pits. Still, his claim was denied, and it got to a point where we might have to hire an attorney and do other things. And he was so weak and frail at this point that we had a discussion that I told him I was going to be okay. And that if he was doing this, fighting this for me and his family, that he didn't have to do it anymore. That if we only had 2 months left to live, maybe it was better to not spending those 2 months fighting with the Veterans Administration for recognition for his illness and its service connection. So since he passed away, there have been articles written and reports declassified about Uzbekistan. And I plan to keep the promise I made to try to get acknowledgement from the Veterans Administration that his cancer was service-connected. And I aim to do that. It's a very difficult process. They make it very, very difficult. I don't know why it has to be this hard. I know somebody whose husband also died of the same cancer. And his was deemed service-connected simply because he had complained of heartburn during his time on active duty. And that was it. That was all it took. My husband didn't complain of heartburn. As a flyer and as a special operator, you learn not to tell the flight surgeon of any symptoms anyway, because you're taken from flying status. So you're in a catch-22. There are many problems with the process. Anyway, I would like to speak to anyone that can help veterans like my husband who are ill and looking for help. We need to not forget them. Thank you.